Japan, a country where tradition meets innovation, where ancient customs blend seamlessly with cutting-edge technology. But beyond the picturesque landscapes and cultural marvels, there lies a set of practices and customs that are perfectly legal in Japan, but would raise eyebrows, or even land you in trouble anywhere else in the world. Curious to know what these are? Let's dive right in. Buy a live turtle at the market. Our first point takes us to the bustling markets of Japan, where you can buy a live turtle. In Japan, one of the unique experiences for visitors is the ability to buy a live turtle at the market. Unlike in many Western countries, where purchasing live turtles could raise animal welfare concerns, this practice is common in Japan. Traditional markets, especially, showcase these turtles, which are available for various purposes. Some people buy them as pets, while others might purchase them for a culinary adventure, using the turtles as ingredients for soups. This might seem unusual to many, but turtles hold a special place in Japanese culture. They are considered symbols of longevity and good fortune, which adds a layer of cultural significance to the practice. However, if you are a tourist thinking about buying a turtle, it is essential to be aware of the regulations in your home country regarding the importation of live animals. Different countries have different rules, and taking a turtle home could lead to unexpected legal complications. Therefore, while buying a live turtle in Japan can be a fascinating cultural experience, it's important to approach it with caution and respect for both local and international laws. Run red lights. Now, this might surprise you, but in Japan, running red lights is more tolerated than you'd think, particularly for cyclists. It may come as a surprise, but in Japan, running red lights is more accepted than in many other countries, especially when it comes to cyclists. In certain situations, cyclists are allowed to go through red lights, such as when turning left or when there's no oncoming traffic. This is a stark contrast to the strict traffic laws in many other parts of the world, where running a red light would almost certainly result in a ticket or fine. However, this doesn't mean that cyclists can simply ignore red lights altogether. Japan has specific guidelines that allow this practice under certain conditions, with an emphasis on practicality and safety rather than rigidly following traffic rules. This unique aspect of Japanese traffic culture showcases a more flexible approach, prioritizing convenience and the real-time flow of traffic over strict rule enforcement. While it may seem unusual to outsiders, it's just another example of how traffic regulations can vary widely from one country to another. Eat whale. Moving on to our fourth point, eating whale. Eating whale is perhaps one of the most controversial practices in Japan. While many countries have banned or strictly regulated whaling and the consumption of whale meat due to conservation efforts, Japan continues to hunt and consume whales, often citing scientific research as a justification. Whale meat remains available in certain restaurants and is considered a delicacy in some regions of Japan. This practice has drawn significant global criticism, especially from conservationists and animal rights activists. However, within Japan, whaling and eating whale meat are often viewed through a cultural lens, reflecting a long-standing tradition. This divergence highlights how cultural practices can sometimes conflict with global conservation efforts, illustrating the complex relationship between tradition, culture, and modern ethical standards. Buy alcohol in a juice box. Number 5 on our list takes us to the alcoholic beverages aisle. In Japan, you can find alcoholic beverages packaged in juice boxes, a concept that might seem unusual or even alarming in countries with stricter alcohol regulations. These drinks are commonly sold in convenience stores and are designed for easy portability and consumption, much like a typical juice box. The packaging is often colorful and casual, which might blur the lines between alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, especially in the eyes of minors. In many countries, such a packaging choice would likely be met with significant resistance due to concerns about underage drinking and public safety. Regulations in these countries often dictate that alcohol be clearly distinguishable from non-alcoholic products to avoid any potential confusion. However, in Japan, this is viewed as a matter of convenience rather than a safety issue. The cultural attitude towards alcohol in Japan is generally more relaxed, and the packaging reflects this approach. The availability of alcohol in juice boxes could indeed raise eyebrows elsewhere, where there is a stronger emphasis on controlling and regulating alcohol consumption. This unique packaging method in Japan highlights the cultural differences in how alcohol is perceived and consumed around the world. Yell to your waiter. In Japan, it's common to see customers raising their voices to call out to a waiter in a restaurant. While this might be considered rude or impolite in many other countries, in Japan, especially in more traditional or informal dining settings, it's perfectly acceptable. Instead of waiting for the waiter to notice them, customers are expected to actively get the staff's attention by calling out, whether they need to place an order, request more items, or ask for the bill. This practice highlights a cultural difference between Japan and many Western countries, where such behavior might be frowned upon. In Western countries, the norm is often to wait patiently for the waiter to approach the table, and any loud attempts to gain attention might be seen as impolite or disruptive. However, in Japan, this direct approach is simply part of the dining experience, reflecting a different cultural attitude towards service and interaction in restaurants. Understanding these differences can help visitors to Japan navigate the local customs more smoothly and appreciate the unique aspects of Japanese dining culture. Smoke in restaurants. And finally, let's talk about smoking in restaurants. While many countries have implemented strict laws banning smoking in indoor public spaces, in Japan, smoking in certain restaurants and bars is still quite common. You might even find dedicated smoking sections within the same space. This relaxed approach to indoor smoking is becoming less common, even in Japan, with recent laws aiming to reduce smoking rates. However, compared to many parts of the world where such a practice would be heavily fined, Japan remains relatively lenient. It's a throwback to a time when smoking indoors was the norm rather than the exception. So, there you have it. 7 things that are perfectly okay in Japan, but might land you in trouble elsewhere. From cultural practices to quirky laws, Japan is a country that constantly fascinates with its unique blend of old and new. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more intriguing insights into cultures around the world. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.